you are not a trader. You are not a stock trader on the stock market. You're not a salesperson. You are someone who people believe in and trust you with their money. And that's how I take this as a big responsibility on my shoulders right now on the deals that I've done.
Welcome to the Power of Passive Income and How to Retire Rich with your host, Vijay Patel. Get your financial advice straight from the experts and learn how to take your first steps towards financial freedom. If you're ready to retire rich, then listen up.
So moving forward in the show, what we want to talk about is a failure and learning lesson, because personally, I believe there's no success without failure. So let's talk about it, the failures you had, not necessarily go in detail, but some learning lessons. And that's what we want to know more in this show.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, being an immigrant here, coming when I was 28, I faced failures from the beginning. I started working in small little jobs that I could do just to support myself and go along until I secure my residency position. And I wouldn't consider a failure. I don't consider things failures, because bringing you down in a moment in your life is the only way to progress and to get up and grow. That's the only way, because you need to have a perspective of where you are at any point and see and think big, right? So the only way, if you have a failure, so to speak, failure or setback, I would say, every kick in the butt is a step forward, right? So, think about this way. Don't consider things as failure, just as setbacks that would propulse you 10 times faster forward. So, after that, I had a couple of setbacks, I would say, with people that you connect with, and you realize after a while that they're not the type of people you want to hang out with, because their mindset is different. And over the years, what I learned is that you have to select, especially in business relationships and stuff like that, select people that are having a certain type of mindset, and that would bring you up more than you can do it by yourself. As a failure necessarily, I think in terms of not recognizing the power of real estate investing soon enough. And I dabbled, before I started investing in single families, I dabbled with stock market and, trying to, make money off of that. And I lost a big amount of money because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have control over what I was doing. Even if I knew what I was doing, I didn't have control of it. So it was a big failure, so to speak, for me. And that's when you realize that you need to have a calculated risk of your investment. And calculated risk means that you need to put your money in things that are real value and real assets. Kiyosaki says that it's a fundamental difference between an asset and a liability. And if that would people understand, primarily, that would help a lot of people how they start investing. Because an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, right? And a liability is taking money out of your pocket. And that's what, he gives the example of primary residence, right? It's not an asset, it's a liability, because you pay mortgage to the bank. It's not your house after all, it's the bank's house. But that's a small example.
Yep. So the thing is, failure is not a failure as long as you learn from it. That's the bottom line. And every successful person you take, they learn from that, those mistakes, right? Like, okay, I made this mistake, why I did it, and now what can I do so that it doesn't happen again? Those are the things, and that is the mindset you always want to have, moving forward. And that like once you have that zone of mindset, then the only way, things will happen to you is going up, not going down, for sure.
Yes.
So another thing we wanted to talk about is, like, since you have been, in multifamily, let's talk about some stories that you have helped investors by having them invest passively in your projects, and how have you changed their life or securing their financial freedom?
Yes. That's an interesting question, because I had people, asking me, how did you do it? How did you start from single family homes and go to multifamily? And how can I do this also? And I explained to them, like we talked about earlier, right? I started investing as a passive investor in some other deals with some other people. And the way I saw how they communicated with us as passive investors, how they approach an investor, how they, being transparent with what's happening with the investment, with the property, that made a big difference for me of how I treat people now and how I treat my investors now. And this is a very important thing for me. It's about trust, and it's about responsibility for someone else's money.
Yes.
You are not a trader. You are not a stock trader on the stock market. You're not a salesperson. You are someone who people believe in and trust you with their money. And that's how I take this as a big responsibility on my shoulders right now on the deals that I've done so far, that you need to treat people accordingly of how they invest in you, because they're not investing necessarily in a property or in a deal as a passive investor. They're investing in an idea that you can provide them trust enough to give their money to you and invest in that property. Of course, it's a real estate property, but it's through you, through what you believe in. And if they see what the results I have with them, that's how they're going to trust me. And this is a matter of communication, first of all, and how you communicate with people on those deals. And things are not going well all the time. They're not.
Being honest and transparent.
Right?
Yep.
This is life. I mean, some things go well, some things don't go well.
Yep.
And it's out of your control, or, something catastrophic happens with a property, or, hurricane, like whatever other things that you don't have control of. But you need to be able to communicate with people of what's happening, what the implications are, what the solutions are, and how you treat those solutions, and what the plan is. Because ultimately, nobody expects to be perfect, but everybody expects to have a good communication out of it and let them know what's going on. And that's why we try, in every single deal we have, we try to have a monthly newsletter about, what the financials are, what's happening on the property, what the challenges are, and what the solutions are for those challenges. And then from that point on, you have conversation one-on-one with each of the investors and answer their questions, because some people have different focuses than the others. Some people want more cash flow. Some people don't care about cash flow. They want, proceeds when they sell the property. Or somebody doesn't really care about what's going on with their money, and at the end, they just want the tax advantages out of it. So each person has a different focus. So you need to address each of them individually and say, okay, what is your primary goal with this investment?
Yes.
Because when I approach an investor, it's not like, oh, I have a deal, come on over with me. I'm saying, look, I have a deal, and what are you looking for? Are you looking for a better cash flow? Are you looking for a better outcome at the end? You want more tax advantages? You want more depreciation? What are you looking for here? And based on that, I can tell them, listen, this might not be the best solution for you because the cash flow is not that high here, but we have a big upside at the end, or we have a big cost segregation and you're gonna get a lot more tax savings out of it. So depending on what type of deal, you have different types of investors, but you need to talk to them.
Yes.
And people forget this sometimes. And I had my experiences with some general partnerships teams in the deals I invested in where nobody talked to me. And, I was like, well, let me see how this goes, but I won't invest with them again. So this makes a big difference for people. And that's why I'm fortunate enough that I have some people that can trust me and see my record and say, well, things are not going perfect all the time, but we communicate very well and we have an open line of communication. And if something goes wrong or the investor has a question, I address it immediately and I try to get an answer for him. We're going to have on one of our investments from last year, we're going to have a 1-year anniversary. And I try to stress all the time that investor needs to be updated. So we're going to have a big meeting, 1-year anniversary with all investors and let them know how the property is doing, very detailed. Maybe some people want to go and see the property, themselves and show them around. And you need to be in touch with people because this is a people business. It's not a real estate building business. It's a people business. It's about investors and it's about tenants.
Yes. Thank you so much. I think we can talk all day long, but
yes.
It was very nice talking to you. Thank you so much for your time, and definitely had some value added for our audience with your incredible story and with your incredible knowledge. And we can definitely catch up some more time, and then we can have some more QA sessions where people can join or people can ask, and we can definitely have some Facebook Lives down the road.
Sure.
But for today, I think thank you for your time, and
I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you very much, Vijay. I hope your audience got something out of it.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Bye.